Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today's episode is going to be me talking with a good friend of mine. His name is Larry, and he's got a story about when he got shot by the police 15 times and lived to tell about it. It's a great story, and I'll let him take it from here.
Oh my god, we're fucking rich.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. This is a special we're having for our 200 subscribers, and we are here with my old buddy, Larry. And I've known him for
Long time.
9 years.
Gotta be at least, yeah.
9 years. So, the first thing I want to ask you is, how did we meet?
And what was that Chomo's name again?
Steve.
Steve, yes.
Well, he was a guy that I grew up with.
Yes.
He actually lived a block away from where I live now.
Yeah.
And so I've known
That's
him when
how-
he was a kid.
Yeah.
And he was trouble then, and he's trouble now.
Yeah, you informed me of all the trouble he was. Day one, I remember.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
I'll start this out.
Yeah.
So I'm in my garage, and I am, the neighborhood bike shop dude, and I'm selling nothing on the side. And here comes this guy that I've known my whole life. His name is Steven, and I'm like, Steven, what are you doing? What's going on? And he starts telling me that he knows that I've been pushing a lot of weight, and that he knows a guy that has a lot of connections down in the cities, and he has trouble finding someone to sell it for him. So right away I'm thinking,
Yeah, set it up.
Steve's up to something, and he's really stupid. So I said, well, I'll meet him, sure.
I didn't expect much.
What's his name? He says Larry. I said, all right. So let's set it up for the next day and something like that. And I said, well, what's in it for you? And this is exactly what he said. He said, well, I like to have meth once in a while, like a quarter paper here and there, and I just don't want to be running around town trying to find it all the time. So I know you, and I'd just like to be able to come in here with no hassles, pick up a quarter paper, and and so that's what I want. And right away I'm thinking snitch.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, wow, this guy's a snitch. So, but I know
I
he's
was thinking he'd be.
I know he's not that bright, but I'm still up to meet anybody, So he brings in Larry, and you were kind of sketched out the first time, and you took
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, I thought for sure you were a cop.
Yeah. So then the second time, did I call you a couple times, or how did? I can't remember, but anyways, you were there without him,
Yeah.
and so he comes over without Steven. And
Yeah.
so we got to hit it
I
off.
was
and
curious.
And a way for me to kind of prove that I'm not a cop is I let him run with my money, because cops don't let people run with their money. I gave him like $300 or something like that. He was going to go down to cities and pick up some meth and come back. Well, he didn't show up. And I'm thinking, well, first thing you always do is you check the jail rosters.
Yeah.
I had checked all the jail rosters. He wasn't there. So I thought, well, maybe he's, trying to rip me off, or maybe he's on hard times. It doesn't matter. I know where he lives.
Yeah.
Because, of course, Steven told me.
Yeah.
So while I'm there, I started looking at the jail rosters, and I say, wow, I wonder what Steven's been up to, because I hadn't seen him in a while. I punch his name in, and he was just in the town next over in their jail 3 days ago, and on a hold from Ramsey County down in the cities on a sex crime 2. And before that, he had a sex crime 3 and a sex crime 4. So I'm like, how did he get out, So now I'm going shit. I mean, I don't even care about the money anymore. I just don't. At that point in time, I don't want anybody to go to jail. I don't want anybody to be snitched on, and I don't want the cops winning. So I went over to Larry's, and he's in his house, and I'm knocking on the door, and he's upstairs, and I don't know what he said. I can't find it. I got ripped off or whatever. And I'm going, dude, that's not why I'm here. We'll work that out. I said, Steve's a snitch. And he's like, I remember he's going, oh my God. He started freaking out and stuff. So
I'm on parole.
So yeah, and he's on parole, and so I'm going, don't worry, we got this. Let's stay calm. Yeah. So now we know he's a snitch, but he doesn't know we know that he's a snitch. Yeah. So yeah, and what happened after that, we don't need to tell anybody about that. But anyways, we got the word out that he was a snitch. He couldn't snitch, and he ended up going to prison or jail, anyways, or maybe to another town to try and snitch there. I don't know, but yeah. So yeah, I guess I answered the question for you.
Yeah, thanks. They catch me back up. One of us got shot twice in the head, so.
So then, so I get to know Larry, and obviously he trusts me now, and it's like at this time, after selling meth for, I suppose it would be 12 years now, I finally come across somebody who was loyal and honorable and knew what was going on. I had been surrounded by part-timers and shit. So and I was selling full time. So I met Larry, and we hit it off, and
cool.
And we had a lot of fun. And then turns out that he tells me he got in some trouble back in '92 when you got.
It was 97. I went, yeah.
97, he had an altercation with the police.
Christmas Eve.
So, this is a story I want you to tell us. What happened?
I was stopping for a pack of Camels and to put some air in my front left tire because I had a slow leak. And I just bought an Audi 5000 Turbo Quattro CS.
Was it snowing out?
Lightly, but, it was cold. It was Christmas Eve. I've been driving the car, in the scrapyard now, showing off. I do a lot of work in the scrapyards. So either way, I got a good hole in my front left. And it's Christmas time, of course, so, I was trying to get by as long as I could, money-wise, I had like 4 cans of Fix Flat in that front left tire, and it still leaked. And so I had to fill it every night and every morning. I was on my way to my parents in Burnsville, and coming from my job site in Belle Plaine, I was doing a hazardous waste site cleanup, and been working all day by myself trying to set up my job trailer. There was an old junkyard on the river that so I had some connections, got me in there through the DNR, whatever, and setting up my job trailer all day, and I got to make Christmas at my parents' house, and so either way, the last thing I did every evening was fill my tire. I could fill it by 11 o'clock at night, and I'd have to go fill it again in the morning by 7, or it would be on the rim, and I'd have to fill it slow. I think so. I stopped to fill my tire, and I pull into this truck stop, and I'm waiting for one of 2 or 3 spaces that can reach that little orange air machine, for a quarter or whatever it was. It was like $1 when I got out of prison, Anyways, the spaces were all full, and so I said, is anybody who's ever driven had to wait for, 1 or 2 or 3 spaces where they could reach their tire. And I seen a cop pull in and stop in front of another car. I was backed up towards 35, and 11 spaces away, as it turned out, there was another car backed up. Cop stopped at that car, and she stopped at the wrong car apparently, because there was another cop somewhere.
The cop was a female?
Yeah, there was another cop somewhere in the truck stop. That the way we got it from the State Highway Patrol, Central Minnesota Communication Highway Headquarters out of Rochester, 30 broadcast. I have Dolan at the Mega Stop, and 48, 46, I'm en route. That's the cop with the dog. And because they know I always have a dog, I guess. And so here she comes. And it was racial profiling is what it was. And yeah, and we'll get to that. Either way, she stopped in the wrong car. And somebody pulls out of a space, and I can see the orange machine. So they pull out, and I'm pulling up, and I see the cop running around, jumping her car, and hits the cherries and the sirens, and pulls up behind me as I pull in. She blocks me in, you know. And I'm like, oh, what the hell? And another cop pulls up parallel to her, and they're perpendicular to me. And four-wheel driving on, I'm not going anywhere now, you know. Got two steel concrete posts in front of me, a Jeep on my right, and a Ford on my left truck. And, so, you know, the whole thing happens in 1 minute and 45 seconds now. It may take me a minute to tell, or 20 minutes or 2 hours, but it was 1 minute and 45 seconds from there, when they're checking my license. And, so let's see. They stopped, asked me where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, and I've been working all day. I'm on my way home for Christmas, my parents. And they asked me to step out of the car. I say, why? What's this all about? Well, they say different, okay, because this is where it took off. There was two cops at my driver door. I mean, in seconds, I got the two behind me. I see one pull up on that end and one pull up on that end, outside the row parking or whatever. And so there's 4 squads and 5 cops. And the second one that he pulled up, he's at my passenger door, was a lieutenant who was just sitting there waiting for his shift to end at 11 o'clock. It was 10:46 p.m. And at 10, they're checking my license at 10:46 p.m. At 10:47 p.m. they're calling medical alert, squad fired, meaning they just shot somebody in the ambulance. And so that fast, these things shouldn't happen that fast. And I got my bullet holes are in my armpits, my hands were up. I say, why, what's this all about? And there was a woman in the passenger seat of the Ford pickup to my left. I could have reached out and touch it. And she's smoking a cigarette, got her window down because she's got her kid in the truck. Her daughter's right next to her, leaning over, looking too. And I say, what's this all about? Dude, there was a woman cop and a guy cop at my door. He said, just get out of the car, you son of a bitch. And I say, hey, you don't have to talk to me like that. First off, my mom's not a bitch, and whatever. It just takes off. I'm going to get out of the car. And so I'm rolling up my window because, it's cold and whatever. He sticks his flashlight in, and I stop. I let out the two in front, pull their guns, and I put my hands up, and the woman's beating on the door with her, or on the window with her flashlight, or nightstick or something. It was a flashlight, as it turned out. And the guy on the right, the lieutenant's beating on that window. And anyway, my hands are up. This is how it takes off. When that window popped in on the driver's side, these two started shooting. I had a tire gauge and $10 bill in my hand because I'm going to go get a pack of Camels. They were less than $10 then. And, put some air in my front left. And the one of them said he had something shiny in his hand. It could have been a gun, could have been a knife. I couldn't tell. This 18-year-old kid at the cash register number 1 said he saw me out there. He saw holding a tire gauge, so he could tell it was a tire gauge from in the store and through the window. And and that's what it was. I mean, I took a bullet through these 2 fingertips. That's where I was. I was holding it. My hands were up, and the window came in. They just started shooting, and so and I got hit 11 times, real quick, and I'm watching the blood squirt out of my heart and my both arteries severed in both armpits. I took 3 in this armpit alone and 1 in this one. Both arms broken. Blew my thumb off my hand. I was in my hands up. My thumb was swinging over here. 1 through these 2 fingertips. Anyway, I got 3 in the chest and 1 in the head. Took a chunk off. And then she comes in and starts beating me with her flashlight. Broke my clavicle and cracked my head open. Screaming at me, get out of the car. And I never been so mad. I took everything I could do to get my car in reverse, and I slammed into her squad. I backed up like all of 4 feet and fell over, and and the car kind of went forward and bounced into the truck on my left because the tire was low, and then the one with some bullets left, so it came around and the passenger side and put his last four in me, I was fell over like that, and I took out one in the arm, one in the shoulder, one in the lung, and one in the head right here. And then I thought I was done for sure. I thought I was done in the first 11 shots, but nope. Then they dragged me out the door and started pummeling me, all 5 of them, kicking the shit out of me. You know, they used 2 cans of mace, and you know,
Holy shit.
yeah, it was nuts. Yeah, I'm bleeding like a sieve. I had 1/3 of 1 pint of my own blood in me when I got to the Regions down in St. Paul. Then they turned a helicopter away right in the parking lot. And
Yeah, and I Googled it.
mhm.
And it's actually what you said, what's in their take of it.
Yeah.
But it all happened. And
Yeah,
when you first told me many years ago,
Yeah.
I couldn't fucking believe it. It's like,
nobody can.
It's like, who is this guy? You know. But yeah, it's all true. And so see, like yeah.
So just to clarify, they pulled over the wrong car, which was you, right?
Yeah, well, I would have been the right car of the subject because the lieutenant was there. They knew who I was because I grew up in Dakota County. I was in Lakeville at the time, and my parents lived in Burnsville. And you know, so they know who I am. But
They profiled you.
yeah, it was I say racial profiling because you know, aside from they knew who I was, they said. You know, she said the reason she stopped me was 2 reasons. Well, number 1, I looked hinky. I'd never heard the word, but self-admittedly by her, she said it's not a law enforcement term, but it meant I had long hair and a beard and just didn't match the car. And I've never really had a beard. I mean, some crazy sideburns or a handlebar mustache or something, but you know, and my hair was always in a braid or ponytail or some such. You know, they made it sound like I was running around like Ted Nugent, who's cool as hell. You know, but
Yeah, you're an individualist.
long hair and a beard
You've
just
always
didn't
been.
match the car. It was an
Yeah.
8-year-old Audi. I'm a white boy in Lakeville, you know, Dakota County. I don't know if that means it's not like I'm some gangster, you know, wearing my pants in fashion non-conducive to a working living. You know.
So then they haul you away in an ambulance.
Ambulance, yeah.
And then what happened?
Well, they take me to the Ridges in Burnsville first, but they can't do me there because they got no brain or heart trauma center. So back out and on to 35E and downtown to St. Paul, to Regions, where when I got there I had 1/3 of 1 pint of my own blood in me. And, you know, I'm awake through this whole thing or there. And yeah, I can remember, you know, getting into the operating room or wherever the ER. You know, and the doctor that, you know, was the one that's probably saved my life, Dr. Gooley. Yeah, I'm looking right in the eyes. He's above me. He's like, on 3, you know, they removed me from the stretcher to the table. And it was lights out when they picked me up, you know.
So is it safe to say that the fact that they didn't think you were going to make it is the only reason you made it?
Yeah. I think so.
To put
Yeah,
it,
they really didn't think I would. And they
or
told
the
me
cop,
that.
the police
The
didn't think
doctors.
you were going to make it, and that's the
Yeah.
only thing that saved you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of, you know.
Yeah, because they don't know how much
So then, okay,
function I got.
you went into surgery.
Yeah, they take 4 out of me, 1 out of my heart, 1 out of my head, and 1 out of each arm, because both my arteries were severed. And you know, as it is, I got 1 in this forearm too. You know, you can see there on the bottom of my arm. So even in the dark, you can see this one here. They took it out right there 4 or 5 years later. I went in right there, went through these 2 fingertips, another one right there. You know, broke my arm, severed the artery, and 3 in this armpit, and blew my thumb off and all. And 3 in the chest, 1 right in the heart, and chest. Still got this one in the lung. Still got a few in me. You know, 1 of my rotator cuffs. You know, after I fell over dead, and they put the 4 in me. I still got this one in the rotator cuff, and 1 in the lung back here. Well, they took the 1 out of my head, 1 out of each armpit, and the 1 out of my heart. But they told me, you know, they took them out, and they didn't figure I was going to make it. Anyways.
Yeah, and so you're telling me this, and this is a time where I'd been at it for at least 12 or 13 years, and I'm thinking, because I'm in a small town, you come from the big city, Twin Cities and stuff, and I'm thinking maybe I should consider thinking about getting out of this. type of business, but I just met a cool guy. We're having a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
but it was at the back of my mind, and so yeah, I'm hearing these stories, and okay, we'll finish this one first. But so you go get surgery, and then what happened? Your dad was your best. He had your back the whole way.
Yeah. Well, they didn't know at first. They're wondering where I am Christmas Eve. You know, I didn't make it. Thanks to you know, one good nurse. She called every Dolan in the phone book. You know, and there was a bunch, and looking to see if anybody knew who I was, and because the cops weren't helping,
Right.
and
They weren't very accommodating, huh?
no, not at all. If anything, but you know, it was you know, and I was out. They were right there when I woke up too. Yeah, I had a tube in my throat and shit and stuff and lungs, and so I couldn't talk, but. You know, there they were trying to talk to me, and you know, they like it when you say something against yourself or give them the evidence they need to convict you for whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they walked up to the car, they detected no odor of drugs or alcohol, and the woman next to me in court said I was perfectly compliant. You know, they say I escalated the use of force continuum from the instant they walked up to the car door. By saying, why, what is this all about? That's what I said. They say, I said, one of them said, I said, don't make me have to do this. The other one said, I said, I don't want to have to do this. Like, get out of the car. And I was getting out of the car. You got a legal right to secure your property. You know, roll your windows up, lock your doors. I mean, geez, I was just rolling up my window before I got out.
Yeah.
And they stick the flashlight in, and you know, I'm off right away because he maced me too, you know. Well, it didn't really affect me, and you know, a little bit, I guess. But either way, my hands went up, you know, and these two pulled out their guns.
So how long were you in surgery? Were you in a coma? Were you in anything like that?
I was in a coma for like a week. I just, you know, I went into it, you know, in surgery because, well, I, you know, taking a bullet out of my heart and my brain, and I didn't have any blood left. I was that close to death.
Yeah.
Now where I was dead, I guess. I thought I was. I'm sure I was.
So then when you come to,
Yeah.
you're a mess.
A mess, yeah. You know, I can't talk because I got this tube in my throat, and breathing for me and all, and so it's like I started fighting the machine.
So at what point did they bring you to jail? Or what?
Well, okay, so I'm in intensive care for, I don't even know how long. I have what part of what happened, you know, and
4
getting
months.
shot in the head was my clock got, you know, shot out. I'd say that.
Yeah.
That's really the most.
Your sense of
damage
time
that was
got affected.
yeah, because I used to be good, you know, on time, organize things real well, whatnot.
Yeah. Well, that's why you're always late. Okay, sure, that's a good one.
Nah,
Good
it's
one,
a
Larry.
Perfect excuse. I mean, come on.
Okay.
I've been looking for that excuse my whole
I'll
life.
never question it again.
Thanks. Yeah, my best friends, they don't put up with it. I do try hard.
So when do you walk around? Your legs are fine.
Okay. Well.
When do
obviously-
they bring you to jail?
Okay, so intensive care. As soon as they move me from intensive care into the next unit down, they're going to release me, and you know, to my parents. You know, I'm going to go to my parents' house, and they're going to care for me there.
And your dad got a lawyer, because your dad is
Yeah,
well
I've
off.
already got a lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we weren't expecting all this. You know, they bring me my discharge papers from the hospital, and I sign them and stuff.
So you already got
whatever I could do.
You've
to
already
sign
got a
them.
family lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. You know, it was probably a good thing that way. I'd been in some trouble.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. I mean, obviously, I hadn't seen a cop in, I say, 10 years. Short of a DUI, 5 years before this.
Well, that's why me and you
nowhere
hit it
practice
off.
with the law.
Me and you hit it off so well because we virtually have never been caught.
Right. Yeah.
For
And I
doing-
never had for any of this. I don't have any
Right.
drug crimes or anything like that. And
Correct. Yep.
So,
Yeah.
you
So
know.
we hit it off pretty good.
yeah.
So-
Well, I guess I did. You know, I had an attempted possession with intent to sell. in 80, 10 years before getting shot. I was 18 and
Yeah.
attempted possession with intent to sell. My lawyers now are like, what the heck is that? Obviously,
That's another story.
yeah,
We'll
another
continue
story
on to
another
this
time.
one.
And so
Maybe
there
today
was
yet.
just that, and okay, I'd gotten a bad accident.
You went home.
I went 18, anyways. It does kind of play into it, that attempted possession with intent to sell, which is all right. And then 10 years later, they say out of it that the reason they shot me, in the paper Christmas Day anyway, was we had to stop this murdering, drug dealing thug from getting on the highways and possibly killing would-be holiday travelers. That's a direct quote.
Yeah. Jeez.
Possibly killing would-be holiday travelers, and I just drove 50 miles across country, and didn't kill anybody on the way there.
So then you're at your dad's.
Yeah.
Enjoying New Year's? No.
Yeah,
it's-
I went
no,
out by
it's-
New Year's, but
right,
it was
right,
like
right.
February. Okay, wait. Okay, so I'm going to get out of the hospital, and then the nurse brings in some more papers and says, "Oh, I forgot. We got to put these on the back," and she staples them onto my the discharge papers, and walks out, and I look at I decide to see what she'd put on there, and it says address released to or discharged to Ramsey County Jail, and I'm thinking, what? And in walk a couple fat deputies, and trying to figure out how they're going to handcuff me. They handcuff my feet to a wheelchair and take me away, and just like that, put me in Oak Park Heights, where there's a prison infirmary. I'd never been to prison before. Here now I'm in Supermax, and at the end of a long dark hallway, and my parents come to pick me up, and nobody knows nothing at the hospital, and they never did let him in. I was there for about a month. I didn't have
And that's when your
glasses
dad was starting to get a little miffed.
Yeah, yeah, and so get me an attorney and stuff. That's when that happened.
Yeah.
Okay, and the only person that got in was a friend of mine I grew up playing hockey with. And he just got out of Desert Storm, and he was a preacher now or whatever. He spent some time in a Lutheran monastery in Germany after Desert Storm, and whatever. He came over here, and he started a church of his own, the Clear Rock Church, and he went to my parents to buy computers, and they tell him what happened. Well, he made it into Oak Park Heights anyways. That's the only he got in being clergy,
And right now I gotta
cool.
interject one thing
Yeah.
is to make a point. Like, you had a great upbringing,
I'd say
and I had a great
I was
upbringing.
privileged.
So yeah.
I mean, it was
yeah,
good.
I'd have to agree.
Good morals and
You know,
values, and
We had cabins
Yes.
and lake shores and all
Sure.
this stuff, and drug addiction does not discriminate.
right.
Me and him are living proof of that.
Yeah,
But
I'd say.
yeah. So, anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so being I'd had that trouble at 18, and then this, well, my parents wanted to keep this stuff like the newspaper from Christmas Day, and when from me, I ended up seeing him. A cousin of mine had come by, and he had all the clippings of the newspapers. I hadn't seen
Yeah.
that stuff yet, and then I was really incensed, about calling me a murdering, drug dealing thug,
Yeah.
because I got an attempted possession with intent to sell at 18, and criminal vehicular operation. It was a bad accident. I'm horribly sorry for it. But, I can't hardly believe it. And they're just going with this.
I had that too
Yeah.
with the media, with
Yeah.
my stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, geez, who did we offend? Dang. I mean, you gave me one of my best lines. I say it all the time. Who do their efforts serve? These people. People like Steve Rodelius and
Yeah.
whatever homo guy he is.
So then,
Okay.
you go to prison, and well,
Yeah.
you got the court case, which
Yeah.
which failed. We don't need to go into all that
Yeah.
because I mean we could, but
Yeah,
so
it's just-
you go to prison,
And
and
10 months later, I'm in prison.
and for how long?
I got 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, and for second degree assault on a police officer. They say. They said my car was the weapon that
Yeah.
they claim when I backed up that I hit the woman cop and she flew through the air and landed on her shoulder, and now she couldn't saddle her horse.
Her shoulder hurt from the recoil from the gun, probably.
She didn't have her gun out. She was the one beating me
Oh.
with her flashlight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the two in front were shooting.
The rotator cuff.
Yeah,
they're
one
probably
was
dead.
an OIT, an officer in training. It was his first week on the force. He'd only been on like 3 days.
Yeah.
And they made videos of it that I remember when I'm seeing your, Grand Theft Auto stuff that it reminded me of this because back then, I got some people that made videos of my version of how things went down. There were 5 of them
Yeah.
they made, the women's and stuff. And mine, I said the cops had their eyes closed, and it was so cool that they look just like your Grand Theft Auto. They look almost real.
Well,
You can tell
you're
it's-
not a video game player, but
No,
so I was a
I was
little
never
bit.
good at it. That's why nobody ever let me play.
I was a little bit. I was playing a little bit, and I played Grand Theft Auto, GTA 5, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden I'm playing this game, and there's cops in this game, and all of a sudden a little scene from the game reminded me of your story. So I'm like, Larry, come on over,
Yeah.
and I put on all the
Yeah.
cheats, so he had unlimited power, unlimited weapons and stuff.
That was great.
And I had it on a sheet in my garage
Yeah.
with a projector.
Yeah.
And
I was like
I slowly taught him how to play the game, but you were having fun, right?
Yeah. I mean, I remember like it was yesterday. You were like, no. It took me a second to get the handle on it. I could do Road Rash, which was my favorite game on PlayStation 2, and it still is. It's the only one I
Steven,
played.
did you have a
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, so when you were fearing for your life, at some point I'm sure it kind of set in that you might not make it through this.
Oh yeah.
What went through your mind in that moment?
I was angry, I gotta say, at the cops, at the police. Now I'm angry. Anyways, it shouldn't have happened. It just
Right.
shouldn't have happened. I like guns, a lot myself. I'd say I'm a gun aficionado, but and they get to carry them around and shoot people for nothing. And my hands were in the air, and I was holding a freaking tire gauge. The one saying it could have been a gun, could have been a knife. I couldn't tell. Well, you shouldn't be shooting then.
So right before they sentence you, your father got to say his piece.
No, this was.
What was that
This
about?
was great. This is. I'm about to get out of prison now.
Okay.
This is like November '02 or something, and they know I'm about to get out of prison. They know I'm going to sue for excessive use of force, which I walked away from. Everybody's like, "Where's your millions?" And believe me, that was pretty stupid too. But I had some interventions with the law. They were trying to kill me after I got out of prison. Again, I don't know. They cut my braid off with my own knife on the side of the road. Broad daylight. Beating down, threw me in jail. Wanted me to narc on somebody.
Yeah.
There was never any charges or anything from that. I don't know.
So I know you told me about your dad making some.
Okay, I'm about to get out
Okay.
of prison. They're giving the officer that shot me, one of them, the one that wasn't an officer in training, he was a sergeant. They're giving him a Medal of Valor because they want to pump it up to be like it was justified.
Right.
For when I get out and sue him. And, I'm out in like a month or two out of prison. The guy just got murdered that day in prison, and then we're all locked down. The whole prison's locked down, and all of a sudden everybody's screaming, Dolan, Iron Man, turn on Channel 9. And I turn on Channel 9. This is my dad was in the City Hall, Lakeville City Hall. He stepped up the podium at this thing where they're giving the Medal of Valor. And he's like, my name's Dick Dolan. I'm the father of Larry Dolan. My son was shot 15 times by the Lakeville police on Christmas Eve. And the mayor's like, shut it off. And they shut it off. And my dad swats the microphone off the podium and knocks it over. And I was like, I will be heard. I didn't know any of this was going on. I couldn't believe it. And they had, a bunch of my people out there, like 200 people outside, with my car on a trailer, bullet holes in the windshield and whatnot. And, and signs or whatever, and then it showed him 6 cops trying to throw my dad out. They bum rushed him inside there, and he was knocking them down good. He never hit the ground. 6 of them, and they got him to the front door and pushed him out, and that was pretty cool.
You mentioned that your nickname was Iron Man.
Yeah, I had a welding business.
Yeah.
Started
You remember
5 years prior to this.
when we were doing foilies, and I said, Your new name
Tin
is
Man.
Tinfoil
Tin
Man,
Man.
or the
Yeah.
Tin Man. or
Yeah, I
something.
think I was going to do that.
Yeah, you fucking
Kick
and-
you in the shin
and-
for that one.
Yeah,
yeah, so I'm
so-
a master of metals, and tinfoil happens to be
Yeah,
metal.
right. Yeah, Tin Lizzies. Yeah, yeah, it's a good metal.
It was a necessary component in our lives.
So, so then you get out of prison,
Yeah.
because we don't want to go into the whole prison thing.
Yeah.
But you get out of prison and you're on probation, and then you came to St. Cloud. Well, what happened?
Okay, well, now I did get out of prison and come to St. Cloud from prison to here because I had a friend that lived right over. I was just showing her.
Yeah.
in Wade Park.
That's where I first met you.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I love that place.
And you got a good job,
Yeah. Right. I did.
and that's
that.
when you met me, and
Yeah. Yeah,
maybe
was
I
welding in
influenced
place.
you or whatever,
And
and
I
we
quit
just
my job.
we just said we're gonna do this now or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah, who needs to work?
so here's a question that I only recently thought of it because it was only recently possible for me to think about it.
Oh yeah.
But you're from the cities.
Yeah.
When
Same.
George Floyd died, what was going through your mind?
Oh man. You
I've
know,
been wanting to ask you this.
Yeah. How, I mean, I could relate, to this situation. It was great. I thought that, all these riots were taking off. I was all for it.
Right.
Look at them now.
In one of your
You
old
know?
neighborhoods, I'm sure, because you've
Yeah.
been everywhere.
Mhm,
Yeah.
I have too,
And at this time, my daughters were living down in Uptown.
Yeah, boy, I'd be worried if I was you,
Yeah.
for their safety because it was,
Well, now
It's pretty
after that
crazy.
incident, they moved out of state,
yeah,
which sucks,
yeah,
but okay.
no doubt. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I know how
Yeah.
it is. I'm
But now I can
separated
travel
from
and
my
go visit.
daughters
So.
too. Yeah, freely,
Yeah.
and that's cool. I'm glad. You made it out of it, virtually unscathed. You didn't
Yeah.
get shot, anyways. at
Right,
least
I
that
didn't get
could-
shot.
Yeah, it could
So-
have happened that way.
So one of the stories that you told me that is unbelievable, that it still gives me chills. The motel room with the
Ah.
two guys.
That was crazy. Yeah, they were gonna kill me.
Tell that story.
Couple Mexicans. I'm just out of prison days, and I'm right back in action, and going to get a pound and
Pound of.
of crank, and I
Yeah.
call it crank,
Right.
the fast stuff. And so I'm in a motel, and at the same exit I got shot on, 70 and 35 in Lakeville. Right across the street was the truck stop I got shot at, and across the street here is Super 8 Motel. And I'm in this room with a couple and I realized things aren't going well. I got my money sitting on the dresser, and the dope sitting on the dresser, and one's in front of me and one's behind me. And typical Super 8 got two beds, and thankfully I'll say the anchored down nightstand table in the beds. You're not moving any of this stuff, And then one behind me is like between the beds and TV and stuff in front of me, and the dresser, and the one in front of me, and he looked over my shoulder at the other one, and I knew that I could just feel it before something wasn't right. And he looked at the one, and I grabbed him real quick, and the one behind me jumped on my back and wrapped his legs around me and was choking me out. And I'm socking this guy in front of me. I had him good on the shirt, slamming him, but I'm gonna pass out. I remember thinking, "Fuck, you're gonna kill me." And when I went out, I passed out, and I came to. That guy face to face on me. I pulled him down with me. And the guy on my back hit his head right on the corner of the nightstand thing. There's not much room between the beds and the nightstand. Every time I'm in a Super 8, I think about that. How they're all just the same like that.
Yeah.
And either way, he's out of commission. The one on my back, he busted his melon open. And,
So you got.
the guy in
So
front of
he's
me.
out.
Fortunately, I got him pretty good, but it took everything I had. I felt like my arms were rubber. I remember trying to hit him, and I was like, I'd just been choked out. So much so that both my eyeballs were blood red. I had no whites in my eyes. I didn't know this yet, but I make it over the guy, and I grab the drugs and the money, and I run out the door. Now they brought me in at the end of the hallway, but I went right out the door and past the front desk, and people checking in, and I'm falling on the ground. I can't even barely walk, but I'm moving. I get out the door and get my buddies ride, go, get out of here. So I won.
But then,
I got the stuff.
but then you had an appointment with your
Yes, my attorney.
with your attorney.
Yeah, okay, the next day.
Yeah.
And, okay, but both my eyes are blood red, so I'm wearing my state issued glasses, which everybody calls it Chomo 2000s. I liked them. Mine were tinted, though. I was like one of two guys in the whole prison system that had tinted glasses.
Right.
Because I had, yeah. Anyways, I figure I'll wear those, and nobody will notice. You know, so I'm sitting at the table, my dad's there with me, and I got a dream team, you know. Had a Canadian guy, I really liked him a lot, you know, the Canadians are tough. And, you know, people that sue cops, it's pretty rare anyway.
Yeah.
And lawyers and what. And so this guy's going on, and all of a sudden he's like, my God, your eyes, what happened to your eyes? And I'm like, nothing, just go on. And my dad's like, you know, answer him, Larry, you know. And okay. All right, and I tell him the story. Why, I don't know. I got shot twice in the head. Anyway, I tell him the story, and then everybody's yelling at me, you know. My lawyer's like, you know, see, this is it, you know, thinking, you know, cops are, it was bad enough the cops are trying to kill me, and somebody else, you know, he's like, you know, if you're going to keep going like this, you know, you're going to ruin your lawsuit. I never really cared to sue anybody or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, why couldn't somebody keep me in line? I mean, that happened. Holy shit. You know, I just always wanted to work, and I always have. I never wanted to be handicapped.
Okay, so we're going to take a little break right here, and we'll be right back. And probably everybody else wants to hear. Do you remember when Ace stole your dog?
I sure do.
Tell us the story.
I can't believe it. And I had to walk. He ditched me. What, 15 miles out of town? Up 15 miles. And I walked all the way into town. Mad as hell. And I tried to take up shortcuts across country. And of course, it's a lot of swampland north of here. You know, I had to get on the highway.
But you had your
15.
phone yet?
It was dead.
Okay.
It died. Because I was in the woods when he did it. And he took my dog and ditched me. Took off. And,
Stole his dog.
Straight stole him. And he remembered about my harness and stuff. And then you let me know he was coming through.
Well, then you called me and said, "Hey, that motherfucker stole my dog."
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, let me handle this," and
Yeah. Thank you very much.
I called him up, said, "Hey, my dog had just ate something poisonous or something. I made up some story that my dog died and I need a dog. Do you know where I can find a dog?" Or something goofy like that, I said.
Yeah.
And he said, and he didn't know that I knew you.
Yep.
And he says, yeah, I got a dog. Funny thing is, this dog's master just died, or something like that, he said. I said, really, what kind is it? Well, it's a big yellow dog. I said, cool, bring him in. What do you want? 8-ball for it? 2 8-balls for it? Whatever you want, man.
Yeah.
I need a dog to watch my stuff, a watchdog, you know. So he said, sure, I'll be in. Give me 45 minutes or something. I said, all right. So then I called you, and I said, Larry, I got your dog. I said, come on over. And you came over. We're sitting in the garage waiting for him, and then knock on the door. We hear his truck pull up. We hear him. He knocks on the door, and I said, come in and take over from here.
Yeah, it was great. He comes through the door. I remember his mouth just dropping, his jaw just dropped when he saw me there. You know, I was behind the door and shut the door on him. You know, we weren't going to let him out. And I had a sap that I made from, you know, one of the things he'd throw in the tree, a line up in the tree. And, you know, you give me, I whipped it up real quick, made a blackjack out of it. And you know, you fucker, that guy.
So why did you take your dog?
I can't
To
take
sell
it.
him to someone
Yeah.
like me or
He was
something.
that kind of guy.
Yeah, he was that kind of
because
guy.
this dog was so awesome, and everybody loved him everywhere I went, and that's why.
Yeah.
You know, he just wanted that. You know, some people they can't stand to see other people's happiness or joy or
Yeah.
have something.
Some people can be happy with next to nothing, and
You know,
some people get jealous of being
Yeah.
happy.
and so they're gonna steal. You know, this. You know, something, this thing, item from these people.
Yeah.
You know, they gotta steal it.
And this same guy
He
went
was a
to
real
another friend of
scumbag.
mine. He went to another friend of mine and rented a lawnmower from him, a really nice lawnmower, and he rented from him, and then he brought it back, and he said, "I'll buy that lawnmower from you," and he said, "No, it's not for sale. Come on, I'll give you this much, give you this much. No, it's not for sale." So then that night, when my friend was gone, he came back the next day, and guess what? The lawnmower was gone. He came back and broke in and stole the lawnmower anyways. That was him. And then he called me, and we had to go and find the lawnmower.
Mm-hmm.
And I found the lawnmower for him.
So is that kind of a common thing to happen in the underground in the world of meth and dealing with crazy people?
Well, it
is
is kind of, you know.
Thievery, they will steal something, and it's always charge it to the game.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It's
I
bullshit.
don't accept, you know,
Yeah.
excusing behavior, you know, because it's just how it is, and that's not how
Yeah,
it
some of
is.
them actually will steal from their friends, and then they'll just look at it as, huh, now I get to steal from him.
Yeah, there's a joke about what's the difference between a tweaker and a crackhead. A crackhead will steal your wallet. A tweaker will steal your wallet and help you look for it later.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are quite conniving, and you know that's made for TV, movie, drama stuff, I guess.
And the thing is, they're all very resourceful, but they're just
And not as resourceful as us.
no, not at
know,
all. No.
They're simple chimps in my book.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah. What else we got?
I mean, we got to set a standard or live by a standard, right? And you can't lower the standard.
Right.
I figure, you know, no matter what a person does.
What's the biggest struggle of just day-to-day life living in that culture, in your opinion?
How do I get high today? Where am I going to go steal something from somebody so I can trade it off and get high? No, it's that's, you know, I get the biggest struggle, and see, for me, is not to be looked at like them. I guess I never wanted to be one of them, and I'm not. So, you know, I don't think I am. You know, I presume that because of you know, what I am doing at the time or whatever, you know, drug wise.
So keeping yourself on the good side of things?
I always tried to, yeah. You know, I mean, I got morals and values. I say still superior to most.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and like me, I just try and do the next right thing.
Right. You
Just
know,
try and do the next right thing, and like I always say, everybody knows the difference between right and wrong, unless you're a psycho or
Yeah.
or a sociopath or something. Everybody knows what the difference between right and wrong, so you can just do the next right thing, and things usually turn out right. You know,
Yeah.
lying, honesty is big. You know, a big thing, loyalty and stuff like that. But yeah, you know, and then I didn't tell you this, but I also got into Stoicism, Stoic philosophy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Cool as heck.
you know what that is?
Um,
I'm sure you do,
I'd
because
say,
you live it already.
yeah.
But you can't. The main thing is why be mad about something you can't control, like the weather,
Right.
like
right.
the stoplight. You know, people may treat you badly, but there's no reason to get angry. But you are in control of how you react to it. So you know
Right.
it helps with the anger and stuff like that.
Yeah. I, you know, think why make a bad situation worse. Yeah, I guess how I
Yeah.
do
Well.
things. I mean, from my own end of it, you know, when somebody does make it worse, you know, woe be them, I guess. If they do it to me.
But you are a strong believer in karma.
Yep.
Yeah. Me too.
Yep. Yep, for sure. You know, I don't have to try and do it right. You know, I guess. I figure I do. You know.
How important is it to have a father that believes in you? I mean, even when I was a kid, there was times when me and my mom didn't get along. Well, we still don't very well sometimes, but But like my dad, he was a really smart guy. I'm
Yeah.
thinking your dad is too.
Right? Actually,
And,
we're a lot alike.
There was times where my father knew something was up, and he always supported me. He had my back and stuff like that. And I feel that we're kind of similar in that way.
Yeah, we sure were. I mean, I knew your dad better than you knew mine, I guess. You talked to him on the phone, maybe, but
Yeah.
sort of that. I mean, I always thought they were extremely similar.
Yeah.
You know.
They're both driven by money,
Yeah.
right?
The success, you know.
Success, yeah.
You know, I have that too. You know, the successful completion of a project, a plan, a goal.
Yeah. And you were an entrepreneur at what age? 8th grade?
Yeah, 12.
12
was
years
my
old.
First business, yeah.
Yeah.
Made my mom a Christmas present that, you know, it turned into a huge thing. You know, it was a wooden animal. It was a reindeer. Because my birthday's around Christmas time and what hers too. Let's see. Anyways, I make her this reindeer and just took off. I had enough boards to make 4 more. I walked around the neighborhood selling them. I knew I was a cute kid, you know. And they sold, and so with that money I got, my mom took me down to Montgomery Wards in St. Paul, and I bought a bandsaw and a belt sander and some more boards and made them and was selling them. And I was at a boutique thing. I rented a table for $12. It was right next to Snyder Drugs. Some guy comes out of Snyder Drugs and wants 5,000 reindeer for next Christmas. And I'm like, wow, you know. So now I'm, you know, buying a snowmobile and a 3-wheeler. I bought an ATV first and a couple snowmobiles and.
Yeah, Bob the Builder had nothing on you, right?
No, yeah, you know, and everybody, I had all my friends work for me and the girls and stuff, and you know, coming up in junior high. So I mean, I got to be my own boss that way, and independent contractor is how my dad likes to put it, instead of self-employed, you know. But it took off because I was selling them to Snyder's, and then Bachman's was, you know, near me where I grew up, and I was in the landscaping thing and whatever. Of course, they bought millions and sold from the reindeers. It was an Easter bunny, and I got a patent on this thing. It was interchangeable heads and tails, and you know, made the Easter bunny for Easter. You know, you could have the same body and buy a different head and tail, and then it was you know, horses and a unicorn and elephants with pink or blue ears and a giraffe. You know, I made all this stuff, and they're just selling
Cool.
like
That's
hotcakes.
awesome.
You know, I mean, I was just I like to work.
So another thing, I wanted to ask you about another thing that happened when we were friends back in the day. Remember when that big trap house down the road? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Josie's.
and you moved into the little playhouse in the backyard.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
it was him and his dog. And one time I said, how can you live in that thing? And you answered,
Nice.
you loved it.
Yeah, I did. It was great. It was awesome. This place was, you know, it was like the original cabin built on that property.
Yeah.
While they built the house, you know, and then I don't know if the servants lived out there or something after. It was.
It was little
tiny,
though. It was
tiny. It was tiny. You could barely stand up.
Enough for all his personal belongings.
Yeah.
Which was probably a couple backpacks.
Yeah. Well,
give
you
or
know, I
take.
traveled pretty heavy. I guess I still do, but
But it was enough for that.
Yeah.
And your big dog and you.
They were comfy.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Even in the winter.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a little heater in there, a little propane heater. And,
Yeah. And then while all this bullshit was going on inside,
Yeah.
all the
Trap house, total trap house. I mean, that was the first time I'd heard that saying, trap house, you know.
yeah.
And, you know, they were taking over the house from this kid that owned it. And, you know, he was a punk. And, you know, but still, I decided to champion him.
Yeah.
You know, he had nobody. And this scumbag that, you know.
And then Nate moved in.
Nate, yeah, taking over the house. And I didn't like him. I do trees. This guy was in the tree business himself. He was just a dumb junkie in my book, you know.
And then him and his girlfriend, obviously they burglarized or ripped off some antique store.
Yeah.
And so they had all these antiques. And,
I like antiques too.
And so one time when he was down and out, when Nate was getting kicked out of there or whatever, he calls me and you up, and he called me up and says, come on over. You
Yeah.
can take whatever you want. I need some money. I'm really hard up. So I went over there and
Yeah.
I said, how much for that Coca-Cola sign on the wall? He goes, give me $50. Give me a half ounce or something, or a quarter, or whatever it was. I said, all right. I brought it home. I put it on YouTube, and I made $560.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. And I was always good at selling that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
And so I wanted in on that.
But I know you were
You
kind of
didn't
mad at the
deserve it.
time because I was in the shoes in the driver's seat of being able to buy that stuff,
Yep.
and you weren't at the time.
I was
so,
just a driver.
yeah.
You know, I'd wait out back for you. And,
Yeah.
you know, keep a watch. You know, but as it were, it was good. I mean, I wouldn't say
Yeah.
I was mad or anything.
No, but
I stepped right in, you know, because they
Yeah.
ended up hating you, of course, because you know they you couldn't handle your magnificence. I say, you know, we grace people with our magnificently wonderful and superior presence. That's what I do. I say it. And,
Yeah.
my girl does it, and you know,
Yeah.
you got to have a magnificently wonderful.
but
and
we
superior
were
presence.
kind of different than the rest.
Yeah,
I mean, we didn't
Yeah.
let them know that. They didn't.
I-
They didn't know that.
I call it being an appreciator. We're
Yeah.
appreciators, if not our own efforts, of our people.
But yeah, and then going back about the when I got raided.
Yeah,
Um,
that sucked.
you let's see. Yeah, that was a weird time.
It was. I remember, and I knew it. I'd say you knew it too was coming.
Yeah, we
you were
knew
there.
we knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But my plan, like I've said before on the channel here, that I didn't have a felony, and I planned on just getting caught with a little bit, and then getting the slap
First
on the
time,
wrist, but
yeah.
getting thrown into treatment, and then start my recovery.
You were never scared of much, anyways, but thought you had it figured out, and that seems completely
Yeah.
logical. I was like, you're right, because I mean, I remember bringing it up to you. I was concerned.
Yeah,
you
we
know,
had it dialed in pretty good though.
Yeah. And, you know, short of that, I remember leaving here and going out as they were coming in on that one. And, you know, I always tried to help out around here just because, you know, well, my dog was here too, you know, so I'm going to pick up dog shit or something as well. Your mom was always, you know, down on me, you know, because, I don't know, I had long hair and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And, but,
I don't like that guy, Larry. She said.
my dog would jump the fence, and you know she was scared for her little dogs. And, you know, Eric was a good doggo, and you know, but I still, you know, stayed that way. I just
Oh, my
take out
dad
the
liked you?
trash. Yeah, I
Like-
sure did.
Yeah,
And,
that's cool.
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, I did, you know, do stuff of my own volition around here, you know, because I'm trying to keep it up. I guess. I mean, I felt good doing it, whether it was.
Well, you were there.
helping you and your wife and whatever.
You were
pick up the
there.
Trash or,
You were there for during a hard time in my life when
yeah,
after
I was.
after my wife passed away,
Yeah.
and
That was
it just so
terrible.
happens I met that other girl, which introduced me to a big dealer, which made me kind of that's where I kind of went off the rails.
Yep.
I was, you know, I really didn't give a fuck. It was,
Yeah.
you know, it was a
Yeah.
bad way.
You weren't scared, and at the point where I remember thinking you should have been.
Yeah.
I can remember saying it, you know, because you're playing GTA 5, but you know.
But yeah, there was. I still didn't know what was going on with my grieving and with my
Yeah.
stuff like that. Depression. You know, when did I? I've had depression the whole time. When did it start? I think after they took the pills off the shelves is what I like to think.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, were you into the manufacturing too?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I
Well, I was.
was
You know,
very
everybody was back then.
basic. Yeah. I beat a manufacturing case.
You did. Okay.
Yes, and
All my
just
friends
because of my superior morals and values and what.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
They didn't. You know, they come into a place and you know, they didn't find my blood on any syringes or, you know, stuff like that. They had, you know, people's saliva on cigarette butts and beer cans, and I put my cigarette butts in my pocket. You know, just because I don't litter.
Right.
And,
Right.
simply, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
drinking beer while I was trying to get something done and that kind of stuff. I guess, as it were, and I don't just throw my garbage out to toxic waste, in the
Yeah.
earth or whatever stuff. So
And that is like one of the main factors that made them want the working labs worse than anything.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah, it was,
because of the sludge, because
yeah,
of
these dumb fuckers,
the toxic garbage that they're
Yeah,
throwing on the
right.
streams and shit.
Yeah, right in the lake and whatnot. Okay, do it in the fish house and you drop it down the hole, they come. Yeah, but you just poisoned, the whole
Right.
ecosystem.
Right.
When are you gonna pay for that?
Right, just a plain gallon of motor oil pollutes
Right.
1,000,000 gallons of water.
Sure, just pouring it right on the dirt.
Yeah.
So think about that, and I guess I always knew that stuff. And again, as you do things, properly, it should be successful.
Yeah.
The successful completion of a project to plan and goal.
Yeah.
But as it were, shit happens, poop occurs. And the one, as a partner of mine, he's like, oh, I thought everybody did. He's stealing stuff and tucking away shit, with hoses and filters or something, and charging sludge. That's what got him caught up and brought it in.
Yeah.
And it's pitiful.
And then people, I never considered you homeless because you always had a place to live, but the only problem was people who let you live there would end up stealing your shit.
Yep. And very
It's a very common occurrence with in the meth world. Is
and it happened
once-
down there at the
yeah.
dollhouse.
once you get ahead a little bit, then they rip
Yeah.
you off.
Yeah.
It happened on the dealer end.
So with all the hard experiences you've had between getting shot and the thing in the hotel and just all the other experiences, is there one that really stands out as a moment of growth in your life where without that experience you wouldn't be the guy you are today? And how did that help you grow?
God, it's got to be all of it. It's made me Iron Man. Anyone that stands out as one, I can't hardly say. Some would say I keep on going, doing the same thing. I think I do it a little better every time if I can. And life without change is death. It's just, so how can I come up against so many occurrences where I have all these, flaming hoops to jump through and hurdles and run the gauntlet, or have the law on me? I don't know why. I figure, because I'm not doing anything wrong,
Right.
and I still would think that, whatever my choices were, if it comes to, doing drugs or something, there's, everything's could be bad for you.
But no, you still have. I mean, we've talked about this in the past. You have anxiety with police, and you have
I still
there's some mental health issues there with anxiety. So you're self medicating.
Yep.
Um,
That's,
but you're working on that now.
yep.
We're gonna take care of that.
Mhm.
But one question I want to ask you is like, when you first met me, did you feel the same relief as I felt when I met you, kind of?
I think so.
Because it's like when I met you, it's like, here's a guy, the total opposite. I mean, he came from a big city, Minneapolis. I didn't, but we had a lot in common.
We were kindred spirits, I'm sure.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
and no one else. I can't say no one, but a lot of other people didn't like you.
Yeah.
But
And when it came to us, it's a lot of them around here, were jealous, I'd say.
yeah, but see, this is and the reason they don't like you is they didn't like you is because we're in a small town. A lot of these people have never even moved out of town ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I moved to
not
Wisconsin
Yeah.
for 3 years, and what I learned there just from being away from this small town and how shallow-minded that they are, and not open-minded they are. That's part of it. That they're just like ignorant. I
Yeah,
guess is what
ignorant. That's it, exactly.
and
If there's-
it's okay because they don't know it. So So I don't, you know.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but that's the one thing I don't like or hate is stupidity. And I try not to hate anything, but I don't like ignorance. I mean, you don't have to, be super smart and know everything, but you can still.
Yeah, hate is such a strong word, and that's
Right.
why
I don't like to.
that's why a lot of other people use it all the time.
Yeah, I try not
You
to.
know?
Yeah.
But we don't.
Mm-mm.
So
Yeah, we don't like something.
yeah,
Look out for that, I guess.
yeah, we don't like something. We just look
Stay
for
keep
something
away.
else.
You know.
I'd say, Larry, that you have nothing but love in you. You know.
I'm a lover of life, metal fabricator extraordinary, appreciator of all.
Yeah.
That's what I've always said. If nothing else.
So
So speaking of hate, how did you make peace with what happened to you with the cops?
I still it's wrong, and it always will be. And so have I? I don't blame all cops for sure. This crew, they were an ignorant bunch, for sure. And they're supposed to have a system of their own. The lieutenant that was at the passenger door should have taken control of the situation. It never should have happened in a minute and 45 seconds. It shouldn't have happened at all that they shot me.
do you get a little anxiety just going through that town or going through that area? Still?
Yeah, I think so. And I, was just through there the other day.
How about when you see a female cop?
And it's funny. I've had some interventions with female cops, and one championed me one time because there was like a dozen male cops. My truck had taken off; it was recalled for an ignition thing. It'd just take off on its own, but whatever. And mine did, and I run into a pole. I would have killed somebody. It was right before Christmas, and people are buying Christmas trees. It's this nursery, and there's a Super America, a post office across the street, and there's rush hour traffic, and there's a bus stop in front of me. I'm doing 80 miles an hour down West 7th, and the thing took off, and I normally would just shut it off, put it neutral, and restart it, and it would go. But this time I shut it off, and then I went to shut it off, and the ignition came out, the whole ignition, key and tumbler and all, and I was like, holy fuck, and so I had to navigate traffic, and I didn't want to, run over this bus stop full of people, and I hit this pole. My bumper was wrapped around that pole, just tight, like, keyway, and I broke my nose.
Like a cartoon.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. And, I was in awe. And, the mortar and train pushed up in the truck. It was 4-wheel drive, and it had a plow carriage on it, thankfully. But it still, I was doing 80. And, that was a crazy one. Okay, so all these cops, they're like, what the fuck, you had to be doing 50, 80 miles an hour, what the fuck are you on? And I'm like, nothing, man, it just took off on me. I'm trying to tell him. Whatever, a woman cop came across the street with this guy who was telling her that his truck had done the same thing, been called for it, and she kind of toned him down, which was kind of amazing, because usually women cops, I don't know, find me attractive or something, and if they're the bulldog kind, my manliness makes them question their manliness, I guess, because they're attracted to it, I think, and that's what usually takes that off. And then some male cops show up, and the bravado thing, they got to kick my ass for her. She don't want them either, because they're men, and I don't know. I've had these things.
You've had time to think about these theories.
Yeah, it's
Me
and
too.
so it was no surprise that Christmas Eve there was this woman cop saying that she stopped me because I looked hinky,
Yeah.
and she explained that I had long hair and a beard and just didn't match the car, an 8-year-old car.
Hey, so getting back to your prison stay, what, if anything, made the time go a little faster? What did you do in there to make it tolerable?
To make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, some things I'm sure. I mean, I kept myself busy. I don't want any more charges against myself, but You know, I did have a good time there. I gotta say, you know, made the best of a bad situation. I worked in a welding shop, of course, and
And everybody knows that drugs are available. And
yeah, and so I, you know, did what I
Yeah.
could there. You know.
what was your hustle in jail? Everybody has one.
Sure. Well, you know, I would, you know, take your hot pot and make it, you know, I could make it boil, much less boil, because, you know, they have, you know, rheostats on them that
Yep.
prevent them from getting hot enough to really be functional.
Right.
In my book, you
It's
want
governed down.
Yeah, so it takes forever to heat something up,
Right.
and when it is, it's not quite heated up.
And you
so,
can fix it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your
I could,
hustle.
you know,
Right,
hardwire it so that you plug it in and it's boiling in minutes.
So everybody on the whole wing was having fondue? Is what you said?
Yes, the cheese melted great.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, because that Rex fondue and it doesn't. the
And
cheese
just
is melting.
just for
That
the
was
viewers,
it.
just for the viewers, what were some of the hustles? I know there's haircuts, there's
Yeah, sex. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't mine, of course, but you know, people selling it. You know, from
making candy,
Yeah, out of the stuff you could buy there in the
Yeah.
canteen.
and then there's
And, you know,
some
tacos
people would artists would make
yeah,
Christmas cards for
yeah, and
people's
envelopes
kids.
and or cards. Yeah, they do that for a pack of noodles.
Yeah,
Some of
yeah.
them are pretty good, and you know, they hit you. That's the first
Jewelry,
thing they come at.
beadwork.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never
to
been
where
there, but I
I
know a
would
little
hook
bit
up
about
your
it.
speaker and the TV. You know, you buy a TV, and they disconnect the speakers in there. You
Yeah.
have to wear headphones, and so I could also hook up the speaker. Well, you got to take these things apart, and so you know I could smuggle drill bits on my glasses, and you know go to the metal detectors with that. And that's how I would get into
Right.
said things, and you know, and then that led me to. You know, guitar strings for tattoo guns. And, well, then I was making tattoo guns because I had a guy in O Engineering and another guy getting me motors from the Computers for Schools thing. And the guy in O Engineering nerdling up, you know, parts. I, you know, made tattoo guns for $1,000. Now I was doing pretty good because things are expensive in there. You know,
So you're doing pretty good. You
$100.
were pretty high too then.
Yeah.
Okay.
By this point, because it's, you know, I don't have, you know, my
Yeah.
family sending me in all this money every week, and some work really hard. Their hustle is just hustling chicks out there or something and getting
Yeah.
money, and they do pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Could
yeah.
you smoke in prison when you were there? Cigarettes?
yeah, when I first got there, but then they took that
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So also, you know, me, you know, being a thinker, you know, they told us that by next January, and there's going to be no more smoking. So the logic would be to put away as much tobacco as you could. They sell tobacco there, you know, cans and what.
Yeah.
So I invested in that and stuffing, you know, say the welding curtains in the shop, you know, they're made of tubes. Anything that had a tube, legs of tables, I would stuff tobacco in and, you know, cap it. And then when the time came, you know, I was busting it out. And of course, the stuff was all really dry and very hard because I packed it in there good. It
Yeah.
was almost, we had to chop shit up into, you know, 6-inch chunks just to get this tobacco out. But it was still tobacco,
Yeah.
and that kept me going. And then when they took porn away, I did the same thing. I was like, oh, we did this with tobacco, and you know, I put the porn in there. And now the
You were
stuff
in there
sells
cutting
huge.
pictures out and
You
stuff.
bet. But just the littlest picture from an advertisement in the back is $1, and a whole page picture, you know, is 100, and they would pay. And so I was a purveyor of porn, and I like that. I mean, I'd say all porn is good porn, except for gay porn, you know, whatever, you know, type of stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, and so I did pretty well that way. Yeah. And I was a banker too then. And you know, I did the store thing for a minute. You could sell stuff. You know, a person would buy one and pay back 2.
Oh, you were like the guy in the movie.
Yeah. Well, and I got out of that because that's a lot of work. And but you know, somebody's got to, you know, grub stake these things. You know, because you know, you come in, you know, you got to have the chips and the noodles and candy bars in order to roll. And you know,
Coffee.
yeah, it was big.
Coffee was big.
Yeah.
It
And
always
so,
is.
you know, and then, for me, the currency was, Superway protein creatine, big tubs, they were $30, was the most expensive thing. I can remember when they came to my cell, and I had my locker full of my bins, I had too much, property is what it came down to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they,
Yeah.
that was,
Did you
yeah,
even eat the lunch that they gave?
never,
Never. I didn't think so.
no.
I didn't either. Just
Yeah,
when
it
I
was
was in
gross.
county.
Yeah, and in prison's that much better, I'd say, but no, I never did. I did pretty good. Yeah, I also made weights out in the shop and sold them, plates, and the guy, engineering, the
Oh, for
same
pumping
guy.
iron.
I had him knurling up the bars. It looked just like the stuff you buy in the street,
Yeah.
cast iron weights, and he put the plates on and all. He, was knurling them up and threading the ends.
For dumbbells and shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was big.
Were you really buffed? Did you lift weights a
I
lot?
could do 315 and 6 plates.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be buff. You're better being lean fighting machine, I'd say.
Yeah,
I could
you're
bench 6 plates.
you were really tough when I met you, but so was I.
Yeah.
A little tougher, I guess.
Yeah. Because I can remember when you came to my house, he had your mouth guard in. And, I used to love it. We go places. He'd put that in first. Oh, wait a minute. Just in case you always
Yeah.
had good teeth, and so did I. And you got.
Well, it gave you an edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything
Yeah.
for an edge,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good times. It was different.
Yeah.
What else?
There's plenty of dumb fuckers out there to go pound on, I guess. Yeah. That got it coming, I guess.
And it seemed like even for me and you and everybody else in the meth world, you would, at times you'd get one step forward, and someone would come up and make you take 2 steps back.
Yep.
It wasn't even the cops that we were
Right,
fighting
it's our
with.
own people, or what's supposed
Yeah.
to be our own people.
Yeah, it's our own. It was your own people. It's not like
You fuck
like,
up a good thing, who
Yeah.
wants wasted efforts. We put a lot of effort in.
I mean, there would be people stopping by my garage every day, 3 times a day, and I'd get them high, and then one day I would give them a gram, and then they wouldn't come back for a month. It's like you just passed up 3 highs a day for a whole month when all you could have just done is
come back with $30 or $50.
yeah.
You know,
I
what the
just
fuck
didn't
is that? They
understand
take it
it.
somewhere else.
I didn't understand
Yeah.
it, and
Just because they got.
it
I
was
didn't-
really,
I still
really.
can't,
Yeah, I still can't. I still
yeah,
can't understand
why?
it.
But
But that is why a person should not do meth.
there it is.
Because-
It does have an effect.
Yeah.
They do it in excess. It's just like anything else. And it fries the brain cells. Alcohol,
Yeah.
and
But it was, like they always say, you think you've seen everything.
and today this
You've
would happen.
never seen everything.
Yeah, no,
Because there's always something that comes up. It's like, what the
it's
hell?
crazy.
So yeah.
So has the game changed at all since fentanyl came on the scene?
Oh man, yeah, that it has. I mean, to what end? I don't know. It must have somebody's purpose out there, but yeah, it's
That was right when I left.
yeah,
Pretty
in
much.
everything. It's in everything now, and why? Are more people were getting sober or something, or the treatment's taking effect? I don't know. Why they had to do that, and
It had to do with the pharmaceuticals selling all the oxy.
yeah. Yep, and
and
that's
then,
where it began.
And then
OxyContin.
then the criminals wanted to take some of that money,
Yeah.
so they.
And it's like, and I myself, needing pain pills. I've broke my back twice, and cracked my hips, and
Yeah, now you
I've
can't
been
get pain
shot
pills.
15 times. Heck no, I got to go to pain clinics and jump through flaming hoops, and I got metal in my foot, and so. I
Yeah.
try and do the best I can without it. But that stuff is,
Fentanyl has made everything so extremely scary when it didn't used to be.
Oh, and methadone is the worst thing for you. I mean, I drove people down to the methadone clinics when I was
mhm.
driving medcab for a while, and I've heard all the stories about that. It's twice as hard, 3 times as hard to get off of methadone than it is to get off of heroin,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting in its own way. But
Right.
I have friends that wouldn't have hurt a fly that are being charged and held right now on first-degree reckless homicide charges for having that stuff show up at their house and someone dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, people.
Numerous dead friends.
Yeah.
So scary.
It is.
It's not how it used to be.
Right. And people do anything now for these things. Yeah. So you gotta watch your back.
So how has legalized marijuana changed your life?
That pleases me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's I've always been an appreciator, of course, and so you don't have to worry about getting in trouble for that.
I kind of feel sorry for the people who have anxiety if they smell a skunk.
Yeah.
Like maybe someone who is viciously attacked by a skunk might have some hard times nowadays, right?
Yeah, because it's everywhere.
You go into every apartment, it smells like a skunk.
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy.
you
I know it might be, just my door's at the back of a long hallway. You
Yeah, I
pass
was
a lot
there
of doors,
yesterday. Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe. I mean, it's obviously they're smoking in there, and I think it
Yeah.
smells pretty good and whatnot. But it's
Yeah.
just that way everywhere. You get the train station,
Yeah.
the store, the sidewalk. You got people.
I can say
smoking.
I don't mind it.
I don't either.
It don't bother me.
It shouldn't. There's no trouble there. But they're even putting fentanyl in that.
Yeah.
So
And weed.
yeah.
Yeah. Pretty annoying.
Yeah, and again, isn't it enough? To get people addicted to it to buy
Yeah.
more? I can't see the purpose.
So
Right
I've
there
always
is-
had a question about that. People, like Halloween, parents will always say like, "Oh no, there might be drugs in the candy or whatever," and my thoughts always been, "Yeah, and that's expensive. So who's giving out free drugs?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So why are people putting it in weed?
Yeah, I don't know.
Cheaper buzz, keep them.
Keep them on it. That they might want to come off it. I guess
They
when
can
you
make
do-
really
Heinousness.
low grade weed, better grade weed, I guess, in their eyes.
That could be it.
That drug turns people into something that's not human.
Yeah, I did hear that this Halloween some kids did get some THC gummies. Why they make them shaped like gummy bears, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's
Why they would do that,
Yeah,
but-
and that is exactly true. They do. I mean, I've eaten them myself, and yet they're gonna, take away menthol cigarettes because they make kids want to smoke because of they're flavored.
Yeah, they used to put a picture of Bart Simpson on acid
Yeah. Yep.
in the old days. But yeah, we're gonna take a break right now. But thank you, Larry. It's awesome. We will talk again for sure.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, awesome. Absolutely.